like I said, a little discord by Poom. So maybe they're friends, but yeah, don't really know much about him. And my game, all right, just needs to load up. So Thire going with the Chosen straight on the music here as we get ourselves into game one. And where's my capture age? There we go. There we go. Like I said, a little bit rusty. Bear with me. It's been a while since we've done a stream. And jumping in straight away. I'm a little bit behind, but we'll catch up pretty soon. So Thire bringing out the Chosen straight away. And Bice is just Stone, just one. So I guess that's KT. So I'm going to change that to KT just so we're not confusing ourselves. Get best of 5 set up. There we go. I think I could maybe actually change the player name as well, but yeah, Thire the quickest to get to the center there. But yeah, obviously, in terms of civs, probably slightly favour the Carthaginians just because they are just a very strong civ on the open maps with the extra resources at the start. The Chosen do have that little early tool age power spike of the healthier Axeman, as well as the cheaper storage pit text gives more options. Seen him around in the AoE tube community, and fair enough. And hello to you again, Spear. Nice to see you back in the chat. But yeah, 2 elephants already collected from that centre for Thire. That's going to go pretty nice for him. And I think KT kind of looks like he just, yeah, it looks like he's just trying to find his own elephant. Obviously, he's found that one on the south west side there. Northeast elephant still to be found. Storage pit is going up on the back tree line there. And no storage pit just yet for Thire. Maybe he's going to try and plonk it in the gap here. Looks like this, and this is, or not. Doesn't have the wood yet. Maybe that was a misclick with the villager. Okay, storage pitch going up this side. Maybe he changed his mind. Just wanted to get on that stone as well. Stone a little bit more important in the earlier game in Age of Empires 1, of course. And second age, it can be used for walls, towers, and of course the slinger. Gold. One of the curiosities of Age of Empires 1 is gold is not actually relevant until the Bronze Age. I guess you can buy resources at the market, but you tend to not do that so much in Age of Empires 1 just because the exchange rates are very bad. It's more of a last-ditch resort to use that in AoE 1. Yep, KT does find both of his own elephants here. And like I said, I think you'd expect the Carthaginians to have the sort of early game advantage, but it's going to be interesting to see how aggressive both players play this. Looks like KT's actually going beyond the standard 20 vills, whereas Thire has stopped and clicked up now. Close to 40 seconds idle time. KT just the 7. So even though he's added a couple of extra villages, he's only a little bit, only just, yeah, I think like 9 seconds slower. So KT going to get himself up fairly nicely. Barracks is just going to be at home, and Thire has the wood for a barracks, and it's just going up. I think I would have preferred to see that maybe just propped up a little bit more at the front there. It's kind of sat a bit far back, but I guess he just probably wanted to get it down and maybe just a couple of the clubbers in. To potentially defend himself from potential raids. Obviously, we see that KT's nowhere near really going for a push just yet, as the first clubman does come out. Like I said, Thire is going to be the first to reach the tool age. 3 villagers coming forward here. Is this going to be some sort of tower play? He has got 3 on stone, so this looks like a tower rush to me, although this, unfortunately, I think Clubman's going to spot the villagers here. Did KT notice? I don't think he did. I don't think he did notice. So this is going to be a rare, yeah, the tower's in straight away. It's a bit of a rare strat to see in Age of Empires 1. The Chosen get the extra range on their towers. I don't know if he's got anywhere great to put the towers down. Villagers are going to get spotted here. Like, he can deny the gold here, but, like, again, gold not that important of a resource at this phase of the game. Ideally, he'd want to try and tower the wood line here, but obviously he doesn't know exactly where that's. Yes, and this tower here, it's not I mean, it does deny this berry patch here. Clubber is going to come back. But yeah, it's just going to be more of an annoyance, really. It'll just be able to take out these couple of houses in time. And pool working coming out, and scouts coming out. So Katie opting into the scout play, although it's only a single scout at the moment. Katie's floating quite a lot of wood, but I guess you can use that to start putting down some farms at some point. And obviously, if anyone was following the patch changes, you can now build farms without the market on this version of the community patch. And so it'll be interesting to see if Katie takes advantage of that, because he doesn't look to have the market down just yet. He is actually open at the back here, but Never Tower is going down. Actually, are these all just houses? Okay, deletes one of the houses, and now it's a tower. Maybe it just didn't quite have the stone. I wasn't quite paying attention to that. A little bit further ahead on the Vil count for KT. As that scout, where do the scouts go? Yeah, they're trying to go for a little bit more of a push in front. Defensive tower does go down. And yeah, you can see here Thire is adding... Oh no, he actually has the market, so in a way that made no difference there. Maybe he actually researched stone mining when I think he might have done that whilst I wasn't paying attention. Where did the scouts go? They're just... I guess KT's still trying to find his opponent's base. So yeah, these forward towers, not doing too much at the moment. Like I said, he's not really ranged anything overly important yet. Like I said, he does deny the berries there, but KT just set himself up on the farms. And yeah, KT doesn't have a market, so he's taking advantage of that new change. One village did take one shot from the tower there, but he is going to be able to actually collect all the berries there. And so, feels like this did sort of throw KT off a little bit with his initial plans, but we kind of just settled in to fairly passive tool age. Obviously these towers are, like I said, just sort of picking off houses here, but KT not under any real threat. Another tower does come down on the south side, but again, it's more just caging KT in. And scouts do try to get some hits in, but needlework it was already in. I already checked that for fire. The scouts going to need to sort of, group together to try and pick off the odd village. Another tower's going to go down. KT does dive forward. Villagers jump into the TC. They are all going to be safe. Fire is starting to just add in some clubbers now. We're actually going to Axeman upgrade first, then adding some clubbers in. Might need to delete this watchtower. He's going to lose the stone on that otherwise. I don't think he did delete that, so that's a little bit of stone wasted for Fire there. And one villager does go down. In fact, was that two villagers? I think it might have been. So we got two in the kill count there. So a little bit of damage done by KT, and he is up to the Bronze Age now. And like I said, these towers not really getting a massive amount done here. And KT just eking out a slow lead. And Carthaginians, as I've said previously, get a lot of those nice military bonuses going into Bronze Age. And KT is not collecting any gold yet. So actually this gold being denied here is a little bit of a nuisance. He does find another gold on the top side here though. Yeah, there we go. So that, did slow KT down maybe a little bit, because he is going to need that gold to build some of those Bronze Age units. Gold mining is coming in, as well as Watchtower, maybe to just try and hold the defensive line a little bit more. And some of these houses didn't get finished, so maybe if I could, well, I was going to say recoup a little bit of wood, but he sat on quite a lot of wood there. Needs to get a bit more farms down, switch a few more villagers off the wood here. Yeah, Thire nowhere near really going to the Bronze Age. Like I said, his economy is a little bit all over the place at the moment. And I suspect to see some cavalry being produced. City Watch being researched by KT curiously there. And yeah, a couple of cavalry out. Still only one stable, I think. So KT maybe should have tried to slip another stable at some point. It's interesting that he's got 2 villagers on stone. I mean, I guess he did research tower, so maybe he just wants to try and get a couple of towers up in defence, like I said before. It is still actually open here, because I think that was house wall before. But still only just the single AXA produced in terms of military for Thire. And yeah, more farms do come down on the field from Thire, but it's going to be a long time coming to get to the Bronze Age, and already a stone thrower coming out. I'm not sure where the siege. Oh, there we go, siege workshop on the top side there. Maybe KT could have potentially tried to build that a bit more forward. It's going to, well, again, maybe he just wants to just clear out these towers, get those out of his base to stop that from being annoying. So I guess that makes sense. Wheel, of course, coming in as well. And where are those initial cavalry? They're still in the stable, which strikes me as a little bit odd, because just a couple of cavalry can be quite a nuisance when your opponent's still only in the tool age. Needlework only really helps against tool age units, doesn't really do much against this cavalry with a much, higher attack value. And yeah, stone thrower just going to start cleaning out these towers. So it's an interesting idea by Thire there, but like I said, it didn't really get followed up by much. So, like I said, it was more of a nuisance, these towers, than any real damage done. It just took out a handful of buildings, really, which Kate is probably going to be fairly easily replacing. And what do we have here? Stable going up, and Thire does have the food, but it has not clicked to go up yet. Now it does click now. Like I said, it's still quite a lot of wood, so he probably wants to try and spend that somehow. Even if it is, like I said, just shifting more villagers onto food, or just maybe getting a couple more barracks down, something like that, if he wants to try and get into the swordsman. Or potentially hoplites might be a play here for Thire to try and defend from the cavalry that you can see his opponent has here. Couple of stone throwers still just sat chilling as KT continues to clear up the base. And what we are now, 45 villagers. So Thire is still ahead on Vils. I guess that makes some sense, as KT's already spent the time to go up to Bronze Age, whereas Thire's just doing that now. A little bit surprising KT's not tried to add any TCs or push or much of anything just yet. Like I said, he's just been concentrating on clearing those towers out. And I hadn't actually noticed this, sort of walled those villagers in the back. So that does deny that wood line now, which I guess, like I said, would have been the initial goal of the towers. But Thire didn't quite find that. I think that's one of the reasons why forward towers aren't really much of a thing in Age of Empires 1, is like, you don't have that scout to find your opponent's key resources, which is kind of the main point of a tower rush when you play it in Age of Empires 2. Now here come the cavalry, +4 attack in, and is Thire going to be able to get these walls up quick? He's going to need these villagers. He's going to hopefully notice in time, and okay, Katie's getting a little scared. What are you doing, KT? These open, go in. There we go. Unfortunately, Thire doesn't notice the cavalry in time, so all his walling efforts are going to be fruitless. And Broadswordsman, it was being teched into. It's only just putting more barracks now, but I think, unfortunately, these cavalry slipping in. Okay, I don't know what KT's doing, like attacking the tower for. I'm not sure where KT's paying attention here. But he definitely could have done a lot more damage than he is doing. So, for some reason, he's zoned in on that tower. And he's run out. What is KT doing? What is this? Is this BM, or is he just not paying attention? I'm not sure. Maybe he was focusing on just, like, setting up more of his eco. But does take the tower down. But this attack could have been way more effective. I mean, he has killed 15 mils, so it's not like it's been ineffective. But it could have been more effective, was my point. Yeah, unfortunately, Thire just floating with his resources still. It's not managed the eco quite correctly. I guess maybe, like, the initial plan didn't quite go as he intended, and he got a little bit lost in the sauce after that. Broadswordsmen are coming out on the field, and he's going to get the +4 armor in. And Broadswordsmen are cost effective against cavalry. Obviously they don't win 1v1, but they are cost effective. You can get the mass broadswordsmen up. But now you can see villager count 65 to 28, 27 villagers killed. That could have all been avoided if Thire just brought that villager off the berries and just helped quick wall some of these extra sections. A little bit unfortunate. Those clubbers still sort of chilling out, going on the move now. And interesting that infantry armor is being, so maybe hoplite transition for KT. Yeah, academies are coming up. Again, I feel like these probably could have been put up forward. KT's obviously in the front foot, and hoplites are a bit of a slower unit, so it'd make more sense to build the academies a bit close to his opponent, I feel. But obviously those hoplites are going to be very strong into the broadswordsman hit. And KT has a lot of gold. Maybe can get himself towards Iron Age in the near future. I think he's got a few too many vills on wood. 37 on wood. Yeah, he's going to start trying to add in those farms as he goes along. But yeah, very big advantage for KT at the moment. Thire does have the numbers, but again, it's just these hoplites at the moment. Sorry, not KT on the hoplites, just these broadswords at the moment is what I meant to say. Urbanization coming in. And I didn't see if he got logistics yet. Obviously, if you get logistics, it halves the pop space. No, he must have done, yeah. In fact, Thire adding in hoplites of his own, so maybe anticipating that, or unless he did spot let's see if he did spot the academies. No, he didn't. Maybe anticipating that being the response. Unfortunately, the Carthaginian hoplites do just have that 25% bonus health advantage, so they are just better than chosen hoplites at the very least. And chosen don't have the best of ranged options. If I'm not incorrect, I don't think they even get composite bowmen. I think they only do get the improved bowmen. I could be misremembering that. And they definitely don't get chariot archer. Neither of these civs get chariot units. So we may see a bit of a brawl here. And I think 9 armor, does that completely negate? So the broadswords do 4 damage. I think Thire does have the numbers to just win out here, but he's going to take some casualties. More broadswords are being built. Yeah, you can see how tanky these Carthaginian hoplites are. Possibly Thire might need to think about the chosen do get cheaper priests. That is a bonus that does often get forgotten. So maybe Thire could think about switching into the priest there, try and convert some of these more expensive units. Probably would be a good shout. But again, like I said, not a common go-to for players. I think Thire will actually use this fight. I think this is enough hoplites to hold this. Yeah, and so yeah, again, he's adding hoplites of his own, but chosen hoplite is just strictly worse than Carthaginian hoplites. There's a few cavalry units trying to maybe get in. I think that is all there. So the cavalry units not going to get too much done. So yeah, I think Thire, the ideal play would be go to add in the priests, but he may not think of that at the moment. He's going to improve bow, so maybe, maybe I'm about to find out if they do get composite bowmen or not. See. Hoplite are pushing forward. And yeah, KT up to the Iron Age now with plenty of resources behind this, so he's going to be able to upgrade to Phalangiite and get all those storage pit techs in straight away, and aristocracy for the extra speed. Academies are coming down. Like I said, I think this isn't the correct play from Thire, unfortunately, just because, like I said, his hoplites just lose 1v1 to the Carthaginian hoplites. Probably going to lose a couple of vills here. Iron Age is in, like I said, so many resources in the bank, 137 vills. Thire, half that amount yet, Phalangiite, Bronze Shield. Batsmanship wasn't the upgrade I was expecting, but fair enough. Never bad to get those eco upgrades in. And Thire is getting a little bit of a push in on the TC, but yeah, hoplites are going to be able to come and sweep in. deal with that. And aristocracy, that's the key tech, I think. I think this is the strongest tech for, well, obviously other than Phalangite, just because the extra speed makes them so much more of a threat. I think that actually makes Phalangite move faster than the swordsman line, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if I can see speed stats on Capture Age, I don't think I can. Yeah, Thire trying to sort of... Wait, what? How do these cavalry get trapped in here? Anyway, more TCs going down for KT. How many is he on now? That's Granary I've clicked on there. Is that Granary? TC, there we go. 7 TCs, plus this 8th one that's about to go up. And yeah, improved bowman is being built, but he hasn't upgraded to composite bowman, so I believe I was correct in that assumption. I remember most of the tech trees, but there's always little details I can't quite remember. Missing string, I believe that is the horseman upgrade. So KT using that here. So that's the new upgrade to the scout unit, which I don't really know why KT's doing. I feel like KT could just push through here. So maybe he's just trying to like get himself settled for the series and just warm himself up in this first game, because already, well, yeah, the berries have all gone now and the villagers idle. Cavalry go, oh no, sorry, these aren't cavalry, these are scouts. So this is the horseman unit, which I don't feel like this is actually the correct unit model. So that's interesting. Pretty sure we didn't have this as the model for the scout in the pack. So I don't know what's happened there. Don't know if that's a bug in Capture Age. Stone Thrower's going to deal with those, but he does lose one. But yeah, I'm not really sure why KT's feeling the need to spam this unit. I guess he just thinks he just wants to show it off for this game. Yeah, it's got all these... Where are the Phalangite? Okay, they are pushing forward now. Looks like they did get quite a bit of damage done there. Improved bow. Only the +1. Yeah, big hit there. I can't remember how many pierce ammo is. They did get. Oh no, they did get all of them. Katie's just not researched any of them yet, other than the bronze armor one. So yeah, this is a bit curious, because if Thire had put more, well, still had some more of his swordsmen left, they would actually just butcher these scouts here. But I think KT has enough of an eco advantage that he can basically do whatever at this point. And I think probably just both, yeah, Centurion coming in as well now. Both players just maybe just getting a feel with the hands, just warm themselves up a bit. I think Thire will probably call a GG fairly soon. He is very far behind the score here. Most of these scouts or horsemen are going to get taken out. Which again, I'm not really sure why KT's doing this. Feels a little, maybe, well, again, imagine he wants to show the unit off. While the gold is still not very strong. It's like Thire has run out of gold that he had safe. Obviously there's gold out here and out here. Those are outside his walls. Doesn't feel safe going outside yet. And he is in the Iron Age now, but yeah, he just doesn't really have the resources to do anything now that he is there. Centurion nearly in now. And yeah, KT's now just actually punching Centurions, which is what it should have really been doing all this time. I don't feel like there's much more to be said about this game at this point. It's basically just, yeah, I mean, he's trying to get himself on the gold, but the horsemen they keep raiding. Phalangite very slowly pushing through. Wanted to sneak through, maybe Thire accidentally opened the gate there, I'm not 100% sure. It does let a whole bunch of the Centurions in, not that the gate's going to hold Centurions for that long. These stone throwers going to get... Okay, that essentially will get taken out. Some horse archers have actually been built. Well, I say some, a singular one. Again, yeah, Thire just choked from not having any gold. And you can just see it's up like the flood of units coming forward. KT just in full swing, nearly at max population here. Maybe delete a few villages actually, just to make some additional population space for military. But again, I think there's not really much more to be done at this point. Because I restarted Capture Age, it's not remembered. And we've gone to Inside Out actually. I think this was, I'm pretty sure this was KT's map. So this surprises me a little bit, but we do see the Hittites come out and KT on the Romans, and usually in this situation you expect the Roman player to go for some sort of tool age rush, as the Hittites are very difficult to deal with in the Bronze Age once they get that what are they called? Chariot archers, there we go. I kept wanting to say cavalry archers, my brain wasn't telling me the right words there. Yeah, we get that massive chariot archers. The Hittites are very difficult to deal with, but the Romans do get that nice wood discount on all their buildings, which can give them a fairly strong early game, especially compared to the Hittites, who don't really get any bonuses. I mean, obviously they do get a +1 attack on their bowmen in the Tool Age, but it tends to not be that strong of a bonus just because the Slinger can completely deny that. And I suspect we may see some forward towers from KT with a Slinger follow-up. Just deletes that wall there just to get better access to the wood. And let's have a look. You do get your 2 outer berries. Both of KT's are forward, unfortunately for him. One of Thire's is backward. One is actually that's like so far away from that wall. That feels like a little bit of a weird spawn there. But yeah, so Thire can rely on those rear berries and have those quite safely gathered. And do have the outer ring of this map. It's kind of weird, there's not really like much in the way of resources. I feel like this map could have done with like maybe a few patches of like stone and gold and more stuff around the edge here. But you don't tend to see much action around the sides. Normally it's just like some extra TCs get put up at the back here for wood cutting and farming, just to give yourself a little bit more space if the Bronze Age, if we do get into a longer Bronze Age, I mean to say. And we'll have a look, see, KT going up on 20 vills here, so probably going to try and do something in the Tool Age. In fact, we do normally see like even like 19 villagers just to try and get that uptime as quick as possible sometimes. Only 19 seconds idle TC time. Quite a lot of idle TC time from Thire, so he's not had the best of starts. In fact, I've just noticed here that he didn't build a granary. He went for the storage pit straight away, and he just decided to push his gazelle. So maybe that slowed down villager production in the early game a little bit. It's just shy of being able to click up. Oh, it has got extra villagers in queue here. So maybe Thire being a little bit greedy here, trying to go for just that fast bronze. But like I said, quite a bit of extra added idle TC time here means Thire's uptime is going to be pretty slow. He clicks tool now just as KT's literally hit the Tool Age himself. Thire's going to have to go defensive mode. KT is adding in some clubbers. I'm never the biggest fan of the clubbers. I just feel like just save the resources and just go straight into Slinger, in my opinion, is just better. Because otherwise your opponent, like, if you just go axes, Thire can just put an archery range down, well, obviously when he hits the Tool Age, and just build bows, and you can very easily defend, or even just towers, whereas Slingers are much more difficult to defend with. And a bowman added as well by KT, so there's a little bit of a curious start, in my opinion. But yeah, he does go for those cheaper Roman towers. So maybe we've been a little bit wiser for Thire to build it back. So step backwards. Obviously, normally you do try to, it's normal to try and sort of double wall up with the buildings. Just house wall back here as Thire does grab these berries at the back. Thire has nowhere near enough wood for... But, well, he just doesn't have enough food, so this isn't going to be a fast bronze. So this, unfortunately, is not looking like the best of early games for Thire. Another tower is going to go up. House just trying to block off here. Thire probably needs to research wall, trying to sort of like block off some of these sections. As with the assistance, these towers, axes, they're going to get through these houses fairly quickly. Probably needs to try and walk behind this. But yeah, Tool Age is in, but not enough wood for any... Oh, and actually, sorry, he already is building an archery range here. So it's going to be a bowman defense. And this is, again, why I'm a little bit surprised Katie didn't go for slingers, because bowman is what the Hittites want to play. So the wall does get broken down. Another tower does go down. So another thing is that Thire can't build slingers of his own to try and push these towers back. Barracks is going to get taken out here. You can see Zax is doing good work. One bowman does come out now. A couple more in queue. And, so don't want to lose this bowman. Every unit's going to be very important for Thire to hold this position now. Both players about the same amount of villagers, but it feels like they're both focusing on the military at this point. Woodworking coming in for that extra range, and obviously faster gathering wood as well. But yeah, Thire's probably going to need to try and get a second archery range down. He does try and complete the wall. He's trying to just wrap it up here. I think Katie's potentially... Okay, Clubman being sacrificed here to just try and get that wall up, which I think that's a fine play. You can get those walls up. Decent amount of damage done by Thire in return. If they get this last wall section up, that'd be good. Yeah, Katie on 31 vills now, so sneaking a little bit further ahead. Katie no slings. Yeah, I don't know why he didn't add slings in. Because if he did have slings, this would be very difficult for Thire to defend. Thire needs to stop this tower from going up. He needs to try and focus down the villagers. And Katie actually gives up himself. I don't think he was under actually much pressure there. He does delete the tower though, so he felt pressured into it. He's going to lose the axis, and finally the slingers come out. But arguably Thire's been given enough time to put himself in an okay position. But the continued placement of the towers is going to be an issue for Thire. Like I said, he doesn't have slinger of his own to try and deal with those. So maybe he needs to try and get his own tower. Towers to come down. Obviously, the towers being much cheaper makes that not the best of trades. Thire is basically just trying to survive until he can get to that 800 food. It's not a million miles off, to be fair. So if he can hold this, he's going to be in a very good position, because KT's been doing a good job of keeping villager production going. He's not got a huge amount of food in the bank. It's going to take him quite a while to build up that stockpile. I don't know if Thire's just forgot to make villagers, or if it's deliberate to just try and get the food in ASAP. Berries are starting to run out, so he's going to be able to spend all that wood and put down some more farms. Yeah, Katie, and he has 4 villagers forward in this push, so that's a lot of villagers not collecting resources. This house is going to go down though. Thire does need to be careful here. How many? We've got 8 bows now. The stone mining did come in from Katie. The bowmen do have an extra range on the slingers, so if you are very careful with microing your units, you can try and outplay slingers. Just going to lose a bowman to the tower here though. Probably needs to put these bowmen on the stand ground stance. Yeah, trying to pick off some of those units, but so many bowmen going down just because of those slingers. Like I said, I don't really understand why Katie didn't go for slinger faster. Now, Thire is going to be in problems. He's trying to get to the Bronze Age now, but I think this might be one of those times we need to maybe cancel it. Possibly add in a stable, try and get some scouts out. And yeah, he needs to deny this tower, otherwise he's going to lose too much control. mean, inside out you can run out the back, which is what Thire's trying to do now, so maybe he's just going to try and keep as many villagers alive as he can before he hits the Bronze Age. And some damage done, but the villagers probably all going to get taken out. I don't know why KT isn't just killing these villagers that are like literally asking to just be hit. But yeah, 7 villager kills now. KT is up on the way to bronze. And how many archery ranges do we have? Just 2 at the moment. And we have nerfed the Hittite, so the wheel does take a little bit longer to research now, which is going to give Thire that extra time. Sorry, KT that extra time to push into Thire even more than he has done. And for some reason, KT's not making any more units. I guess he's just thinking, I'm going to switch into some Bronze Age units, but he should really be trying to push his advantage here. Bowman, again, need to stop these villagers. He should just be focusing the villagers here, but he's just going to lose slingers. Just, yeah, too many slingers there to break through. So we do get to the Bronze Age for Thire, and the wheel is coming in, but he has no wood for those chariots. He needs to rebuild a storage pit, but doesn't have enough wood for that either. So yeah, he's not going to be able to get those chariots out on the field. And Bronze Age in for KT now. And probably just needs to add in some cavalry units for KT. Yeah, first chariot arch being made. All of these watchtowers in his face, soon to be sentry towers. And yeah, Thire just didn't reposition. I don't know, it's kind of weird. He like kind of moved half of his eco out here, but then just didn't rebuild the storage pit. Maybe just a little bit of panic mode. I think he probably should have cancelled the Bronze Age and just tried to shore up the position. But it's tough. It's tough when you've got like this amount of pressure on your face. KT on 46 villagers to 23 now, and he said eco just kind of didn't really get set up. I mean, if Thire can get down a... Why is KT building extra TCs? I feel like KT does like good plays in the early game, and then his follow-ups are just like never great. But anyway, so yeah, if Thire can get down a siege workshop, he could actually try and start clearing up these towers. He's trying to bone them down here. Thank you, Mr. Bot, for your posting. Yep, siege workshop is going up now, and KT making stone throw his own for reasons I have no idea. He's already broken through. He's adding the XTC, so the correct play here is just to like put your foot down and just squash your opponent. But KT going for the more I'll give you a chance to come back into the game approach, which is very sporting of him. No gold at the moment to get the stone thrower out. There's gold at the back here, and he is just collecting over here. KT is double the villagers. He's adding in the 3rd TC. And again, I feel like it's just completely unnecessary, but that's KT gameplay for you. Probably this TC may go down at some point just from the Sentry Tower fire. A few more villagers going to get caught out. KT trying to build more towers in his opponent's face. Some singular chariot actually not going to be able to get too much done. And unfortunately, Thire's just take a bit too long to get the gold out for the stone throwers here. And I think this game is now probably just also well, it has been for a little while, to be fair. For some reason, KT didn't just finish off. He decided to expand for reasons beyond my comprehension, as I said. But Thire is just nothing left now. 18 vills, not enough military. Well, 0 military, not enough resources to push it back at all. Too many towers in the base. Like I said, there was quite a lot of idle time from Thire just in that Stone Age, which made this a little bit too easy for KT, even though KT was making it harder for himself by not adding in those slingers. Again, I don't really know why KT went Bowman. He could have just gone that handful of axes straight into slingers. But yeah, Thire just, I don't know, for whatever reason, not tapping out just yet. But again, as in game 1, this is all said and done. It's just a matter of time here. KT building storage print as based in the GG is called. Yeah, I mean, KT was obviously on top that entire game. I think a few questionable decisions by him there. But let's see what happened in the early game. The choice from Thire is the Cimmerians, which he did pick earlier in the draft, but KT has just picked his Palmerians. And like I said earlier on, personally, I just think Palmerians are just a better version of the Cimmerians. They both have those sort of slower, earlier game with the extra defenses on the villagers. But the eco bonus for the Palmerians is just so much stronger that I just think they're a better civ in the later game than the Cimmerians are. Cimmerians do have a decent-ish Bronze Age, but I just think their bonuses aren't, like I said, strong enough to really be massively competitive civ. And again here, Thire going for an early storage pit, and I guess he just thinks he can just lure in the boar and he can just gather the berries later, so he just has the slightly more efficient wood gathering in the earlier game. And this has, I mean, he's kept his idle TC down. Oh, what happened to, oh wait, I think it's Palmerian, isn't it? You always often get a little bit of idle TC time, just as that, like, food takes a little bit longer to come. Villagers being more expensive is what I'm trying to say, so you have to get that extra food in to be able to pay for those Palmerian villagers. As KT is trying to push those gazelle in. They're being a little bit pesky there. Well, they are actually deer on this one, they're not gazelle. But hopefully Thire can have a little bit cleaner of an early Stone Age. Obviously Palmerians not the best at performing any sort of rushes, so I feel like this probably will be probably just a quick fast Bronze Age for both players, I would imagine. And we do have the outer berries at the front for each player. It would be interesting to see, as I've said it many times before on this map, often is the case that the second granary goes up on those outer berries just so you can gather those. I don't know if people will care about that as much now that you can build farms without having to build a market, but then I still think it's worth, just because the wood you save a little, well, you extend the amount of time you have before you have to commit wood to building farms. And also both players, I suspect, will be building a market as soon as they hit Tool Age anyway, so I think Citadels is one of the maps where that easier access to the farms basically makes no difference, because if you're going for that fast bronze, you tend to build the market plus probably archery range for both of these civs here, I imagine. Unless one of them does go for, I guess you could argue maybe Cimmerians could go for the stable and they could just go for their camels. They get the +1 piercer ammo on the camels that makes them quite a bit more effective against opposing chariot archers. So we will see if Thire goes for that play or it is the more traditional chariot archer route. Not really sure why we're building the house here. That strike, oh, I guess that, I was going to say, I feel like that makes the wood gathering a little bit more inefficient, but I guess he does have access to most of the front of that storage pit there. And the granary does go down on the berries. I think we did see that earlier, but I was talking, so I wasn't really focusing on that. And kind of funnily, I think there is a gap between the tree line and the gate there, so I think you can get out, but it's kind of always funny when you have the tree line in front of your gate. Makes it a little bit better for you as the defender there, actually, because obviously the gates tend to be the weaker points. As you just have more open face, it's usually easier for the melee units to get onto that building and do more damage. And barracks, is that intentional by KT? He has gone up on 21 villagers for Palmyrans, and obviously Palmyra villagers are 25%, have a 25% increased working rate. So even though he's behind 3 vills, he is effectively still ahead in terms of the amount of resource gathering he can do with those vills. Brings in that second ball there. So barracks going up outside. And I guess he's just getting that ready, because obviously you have to build the barracks just so you can build either an archery range or the stable going into the tool age. Yeah, barracks going up for fire, and KT is going to reach that tool age, sorry, a little bit faster. He's a little bit short on food still, and in fact he doesn't really have the wood either. So this isn't going to be the smoothest of quick bronzes from KT. Yes, okay, he is actually building the stable, so maybe he had already placed that down. Excuse me. Market following suit. I think KT probably should cancel some of these villagers. Maybe a couple of them there, and it should... I think it'd still be a little bit off, actually. So Thire is probably actually going to be the first to be able to click to Bronze Age. Market and archery range. And what's it stable? Oh, it's actually stable for KT, curiously. I did speculate that maybe Thire would go for the stable. The Parliaments get the faster moving camel bonus, which again can be decent against chariot archers to help you close up that gap. And Palmyrans can just build cavalry as well, although you expect that not to be the choice against a decent camel civ. Woodworking coming in for KT. Still hasn't clicked Bronze Age yet. Thire only on the way up. So I don't know if just the slightly different play style of the Palmyrans, just obviously they have that the gather rates and the more expensive villages makes it a little bit more different. I don't know if KT's Palmyrans are a little bit out of practice. Maybe just slightly messed this up for himself. Thire getting his woodworking in as well now. Like I said, nearly halfway up to the Bronze Age now. And let's see. Like I said, I suspect it now that he has put the archery range down. It will just be the chariot archer. Although normally you'd like to see a second archery range just so you can get that production going. Unless he's just going to go for the eco approach, the Sumerians do get the cheaper TCs as their team bonus. And yeah, KT still, there we go, just breaches the 800 now. Clicks Bronze Age as Thire is almost in the Bronze Age himself. So it might actually be worth for Thire to just try and commit to the eco. He has the woods put down, government centre, extra TCs, but then, oh, we actually know Siege Workshop. But what I was going to follow up by saying is like, maybe you don't want to give the Palmyrans that chance to build up that huge eco lead once they get those villagers massed up and that 25% bonus, like I said, working. So this is quite nice. The Sumerians, like I said, stone throwers have the bonus of firing fast as they are quite strong. And a scout has come out from KT, actually just have a quick look around. Always a little bit odd to see domestication come in after you've built a whole bunch of farms. That bonus tech doesn't work retroactively, it only applies to new farms. So it's kind of a little bit of a waste to build at this point. You kind of want to get it at the point where like your farms that you've already built are about to run out, and you can see most of these still have quite a lot of food on them. And so it's still fairly quiet. In farmer for KT Scout. Did he get that armor in? What? I didn't even notice that. Yeah, just KT things, you're not wrong. So government say they're coming down now. And tool working is coming in. He is gathering some gold, so maybe it is camels. Yeah, camels are clicked now. Yeah, so chariot archers are coming out for Thire. I think potentially, well, obviously he doesn't see camels from KT just yet, but probably Thire building a stable and a few camels of his own might be a good shout. Did he cancel that camel? Scout goes splat. The cat. What is KT doing? I feel like I need a dummy's guide to KT Age of Empires. Government Centre's coming up, so it looks like he's just maybe just going for the eco approach. Yeah, XTC coming down from Thire here. And I thought, because Thire went for that early siege workshop, that we were going to see a bit more action, a bit more of a push, but he is just setting up the extra TCs, like I said. And first chariot archer going to be met by the camel. The chariot archer does have a small amount of cavalry armor, which does resist the anti-cavalry bonus. Whoa, this is a bit hectic. So yeah, the camels don't do the full 8 bonus damage, they do only 4. For whatever reason I can't see that. I guess I have to have an armor value to be able to see the armor. But yeah, both players just focusing on the eco side, and somehow KT actually has the villager lead now, which is not good news at all for Thire. Because like I said, every one of these villages counts for like 1.25 of Thire's villages. So KT's effectively on about 57-ish villages now compared to Thire. And third PC farms up. And I think we're going to have a little bit of a slower game here. And this is just goes in favour of the Palmyran player basically every time, just because their eco bonus is so much stronger. Let's not let the camels in by accident. But yeah, obviously Stonethrower is not going to be able to do much against the camels with how quick they are, especially the Palmyran ones. Still not many upgrades on these camels, but it doesn't really feel like KT's going for a push of any real sort just yet. Interesting, the priests are coming out, I guess, to try and maybe convert those stone throwers. And astrology as well coming in, which I can never remember all the temple techs. I think that's the faster healing and conversion tech. But priests a little bit questionable into chariot archers. Chariot archers are one of the best units for dealing with priests. The Thire putting out some hoplites. Like I said, I think it would have been better if he just went for camels of his own here. Thire just needs to be a little bit careful that he doesn't overshot. Should be wary to this. Okay, just to stop trapping that. Camels chewing away at the wall. Thire does repair the wall. And the watchtower has been researched by Thire now, interestingly. Chariot arch tucked in away in the forest there. Yeah, KT just booming up very nicely here, and he's just going to have an immense eco. Although I mean, Thire again with a lot of wood in hand needs to try and spend those resources more. Should probably just try and get some more villagers on farms. Just try, yeah, start pumping those chariot archers a little bit more. And we have a very large mass of those stone throwers now, but still Thire hasn't really made much inroads into actually making any sort of push onto his opponent. And Town centre being built out in the middle of the map here. KT not under any real pressure, so he just feels free to start expanding on the map. Okay, now we see the push forward. And this is a huge nitpick of mine. I absolutely hate it when people do this. Just let the chariots run forward. There's no reason you need to slow those chariots down with the stone throwers. Like, if they're vulnerable, you can just bring them back. I'm a little bit worried that these camels are going to be able to take these stone throwers down, though, because chariot archers aren't the best at like doing a powerful punch at knocking out enemies, because their damage is fairly low. So just immediate shock onto the stone throwers could be pretty effective. He does have the hoplites, but like I said, I would have much preferred if Thire went for camels of his own here. Yeah, he just needs to position these chariot archers to try and defend the stone throwers here. Yeah, I think he's going to lose a lot of the stone throwers just because these chariot archers are just not very good at doing a large amount of damage. Hoplites a little bit too slow to punish camels. I don't know why KT has gone into the fight with the hoplites there. That was very big mistake there, but yeah. They're going to lose basically all of these stone throwers. And again, I would have just much preferred to see the camel there. Would have done a much better job at defending the stone throwers than the hoplites can do. Stables coming down now. I mean, obviously Thire still has a fairly sizable army, but KT has decided to try and click Iron Age, which may... well, we'll see if he can hold on until the Iron Age. There's got plenty of chariot archers in his face. Hoplites going to get a good amount of damage in now. KT isn't paying too much attention. And again, like I said, might be able to get conversion here, but Priest's not a great unit against the chariot archer. And KT just trying to spam out those camels as quickly as possible here. And again, I just feel like if Thire had camels here, he could just be running around the whole base. But he's not in a bad position. I don't mean to say that he doesn't still have a good chance at taking KT down here. KT obviously has a massive lead in terms of eco. Thire, huge military advantage here, and actually KT's converted hoplite doing good work now. Thire nearly be able to click up to Iron Age himself, and another few units coming forward. Ability as well for those chariot archers. I don't think. Oh no. I guess an ability must be in. I didn't think I saw that come in from KT. Looks like he does have that. And no melee armor upgrades from Thire. That's a huge mistake here. He could be taking like a huge amount less damage from these camels here, even with just the tool age. I mean, yeah, the ability is like nowhere near as strong as just having those melee upgrades in. And these camels are just going to be able to sweep up now. And that's a very unfortunate mistake for Thire there. KT's now going to be able to swing the military numbers, or start swinging them a little bit more in his favour. Thire's still a little bit ahead of the numbers, but he should have been able to do a lot more damage there. Thire looks like he's committing to the Phalangite. In fact, yeah, he's like missing so many storage pit upgrades here. Sumerians do get the Centurion, though it's not a particularly good Centurion, although it's still a Centurion. And I don't get why... what is going on here? Camel right. Oh, I guess this is a heavy camel. Why is this like bugged? We're going to have to try and sort that out somehow. I think this is meant to be the heavy camel. Something's gone very weird with capture age there. They're just sliding around. I'm going to have to get onto Carver about that. It's just sliding around. How am I supposed to take this seriously? But yeah, so this is a little bit confusing because obviously it looks like a chariot here, trolling backwards and forwards. But these are the new heavy camel. You can see from the anti-cavalry bonus there on the attack. Thire going melee mode with his chariot archers, which is not a good look. Finally gets the +2 armor in. He's going to lose a lot of these units, unfortunately. Hoplites are going to be able to get some damage in. The armored elephant being teched into now by KT. And 141 Palmyran villagers. And yeah, KT going to be able to sweep up most of the army here. Yeah, these are, for some reason, Capture Age is showing the heavy camel as a chariot. Or some, like, I don't even know technically what that is from this icon here. I don't know if that's like a thing from Chronicles. But yeah, you can see they're sort of like weirdly sliding around because they're moving at much faster than the speed that that model was probably meant to go at. I mean, the hoplites are actually doing a decent amount here for Thire. And Horse Archer is out now. Phalangite in. Heavy Horse Archer coming out for KT. So this Heavy Horse Archer should be able to do a good amount of damage against Phalangite, especially as, again, just Thire just missing so many of the storage upgrades. They do only get the 1 Pierce Armor upgrade, but obviously you want as many upgrades as you can get on those units. So yeah, KT, yeah, now just with both the eco and military advantage. Good number of Horse Archers built up. So many resources. KT needs to get down, like, I'm going to say more military buildings. He actually has loads, he just isn't spending his resources for whatever reason. And yep, +4 armor coming in for the archers, as well as the heavy horse archer. Nearly researched now. Does already have alchemy in as well. I didn't see that being researched, but it must have come at some point. And horse archer for Thire as well. But obviously now with the heavy horse archer in, not going to be able to match too well here. Like I said, I feel like if Thire had just gone with those camels instead of the hoplites, that push where he broke through the walls could have had much more of an impact. Like I said, again, those chariot archers just missing those armor technologies just meant those KT's camels could sweep up there. Alright, yeah, it's the Sargon here, okay. So actually it's from one of the new Return of Rome campaigns. Yeah, heavy horse archer is going to be very difficult for Thire to deal with now. And KT can start pushing forward. Catapult is being researched, but like, as long as you're paying attention with horse archers, you can just kite around catapult fire. And KT deciding to take a shot in the face. It's KT's choice. It's his body and he'll do what he wants with it. Don't know why we're killing it Academy here, but we're going to lose a few horse archers for free, such as the KT gameplay as we push forward with towers. Guard tower coming up now. I'm just curious what the resources collected are at this point. Oh my god. that's 30,000 more resources. Yeah, this game's done now. It's KT doing his weird way of closing out games instead of just doing it normally. Again, I'm going to have to talk to Carver about... I thought Carver said he'd specifically chosen like a model string so that it would work in Capture Age, which obviously that isn't the case, because this is meant to look like a camel at the moment. You can hear it making the sound. That's the giveaway. But anyway, let's have a look at the front of the base. KT with his seal tree, is that the one? These villagers coming forward. Yeah, just snuck that in at the back here. But yeah, this is going to be a 3-0. So unfortunately, Thire not going to be able to take a game off KT here, unless he can get some big catapult hits here. The wall does get broken through, those camels are in. And as I said, these are camels, heavy camels. Do not let your eyes deceive you. Yeah, that's going to be game now. Nothing more for Thire to do. I mean, he's got loads of resources in the bank, but he's just never going to be able to get enough units out in the field. In fact, he's not even make any units anymore. So this is probably just a head in hands moment from Thire. Where did it all go wrong? Like I said, I feel like even though KT's basically had the eco advantage that whole time, just because KT was playing very passively, Thire just had those camels and those archer armor techs. I think that push could have done a lot of damage to KT before the Iron Age came in. Yeah, 45 heavy horse archers in KT. I don't actually know where those are. In fact, they're just chilling out here. KT decided to just flood his opponent with guard towers instead of doing the more traditional way of winning games, but that's just what KT do. I feel like if KT just like played more traditionally, he could probably actually be pretty strong, because he plays like the early games pretty well, and then he just like, it just feels like he just memes on people for the rest of the game. And against stronger opponents, that just doesn't work. But anyway, like I said, this game's over. Thire is trying to make some more units now, but with this many towers just all over everywhere, there's nothing to be done here. Horse Archer's not really doing what they should be doing, but again, this is basically unthrowable for KT at this point. He's got a lot of resources to work with. Could try and grab that stone as well if he wants to add in a few more towers, why not? And so yeah, we're just, again, Thire may be playing on for a little bit longer than he really should do. But yeah, GG's called 3-0 to KT. And he will advance on to the next round. Like I said, I feel like that push, Thire could have got so much damage done here.